Okay, so you can see that Euro USD is actually tending to be moving up or into an uptrend. So, and who supports that? 8 hour is actually heading for a downtrend. The uptrend is actually happening in only 2 hours. It's almost giving a clear signal of an uptrend, but it may not last that long. So this is Euro USD analysis. Also in 4 hours we have kind of a small effort that is actually heading over into an uptrend, but probably can give you less than 10 or around 10 pips. And but in the long run we can see that 12 hour and also 8 hour here, they are completely actually resting their case, meaning that they are still in an uptrend but kind of resting. Also the uptrend has kind of what we call a resistance, so they have a resistance and therefore probably they're not moving as that fast into the uptrend. So we can head over to see how good this is. Also in 1 day something applies. We have a resistance that is going to be pushing us a little bit down. Maybe later we shall head over into or continue into an uptrend, but as for now the resistance is real and it's keeping us stagnant and preventing us from heading over into a concrete uptrend. So that said, we can switch a little bit into AUD USD. And we see how AUD USD is moving. So looking at Toro, we have the zigzag red and 60, of course zigzag 160 already into an uptrend, and also almost all the signals are almost becoming clear. If you look at the RSI, is actually crossing to the downward section, followed by the net volume, which is actually doing the same, and lastly it will be the arrow to give the signal. Looking at 8 hours, the signal is actually becoming into a heavy signal of a downtrend. Then follows the 1 day that has a resistance that will be obviously pushing us back into a downtrend. Into a 4 hour, the downtrend has already happened, so it gave a signal at this point. This is where they entered their downtrend and made some approximately around between 20 to 30 pips. So probably they got this profit. And yes, it has rested a little bit, so it's no longer having that effort into a downtrend, so it's kind of experiencing this resistance here, the fractal resistance. Hopefully the resistance will be giving way and heading over into a more downtrend. Looking at 2 hours, 2 hours is actually now creating a very important resistance, because you can see the RSI is actually now crossing to the above section. Iron red rested and net volume also crossing the above section, significantly indicating an uptrend. So if you look at 30 minutes, the uptrend is actually starting, but it has some resistance too. So we're gonna have to wait for 12 hours at least to give a clear indication of a downtrend, and therefore we shall have an entry point to enter and make profit. So we shall be coming back into AUD USD to do some quick analysis probably in the next 2 to 4 hours. So let's move on to USD JAP, which looks to be heading into an uptrend from the outside of the view. USD JAP, USD JAP, USD JAP, USD JAP. Okay, USD JAP in a single day. We've had our RN2 crossing into the above section green, followed by the net volume, and that's actually a very clear image of an uptrend, though we still have the RSI, which should be confirming this uptrend, still stagnant in between the red line and green line. But if it's supposed probably the next few hours, if it happens to cross the green side, or even coming closer or even hitting the green line, that would mean that it will be confirming an uptrend in one day, and that would be a clear entry point. But you can still enter an uptrend. As per now, you would make some profits guaranteed. You can see in 12 hours it actually happened probably yesterday. In the last 12 hours it was a concrete uptrend. As you can see, the RSI had crossed the above section where it hit the green line and even passed through the line, and therefore concreting the uptrend. And you can see net volume really did something, crossing the above line to of course the baseline to above a section, and of course it did that at the same point as RM2, and that was a clear uptrend. So you can see probably we made up around between 50 to 100 pips out of this bar for 12 hours. That's if you came late, but if you came a little bit early at this point, you must have made it around 150 to 200 pixels out of that trend. Looking at 8 hours, it actually did the same thing in the past 8 hours. It gave us an entry point, even after now we're still in the same uptrend. So that's why I'm saying that for long takers, you can still enter this trend, but it will be better to first wait for this 4-hour interval to push through this resistance, and that will call for another, of course, force that will be coming from, let me see which time interval. Display 15 minutes, let me see. 15 minutes is already in an uptrend, so you can go ahead and enter an uptrend at this point, though you can make just like a few negatives, but later on you'll be heading over into a concrete uptrend. So that's a let's head over into another forex pair, which is GBP USD. From the outside look, you can see that it's heading for a downtrend, but let's dive in and you see how it's going to be working out. So at the end of this, we'll be giving some quick analysis using the technical analysis, which is actually one of the few new tools IT option has added. So it kind of gives a very quick analysis between all time intervals, right from 30 days to the last 1 second or about 5 seconds. And that's kind of a good thing. You don't have to hustle if you have to enter trend. You have to check your technical analysis, and if your, of course, analysis agrees with the general technical analysis on the platform, that would be actually the best time to enter a trade. So looking at GBP Euro GBP USD. GBP USD in 1 day has a resistance, so probably this resistance is going to be pushing us into a downtrend, which has already happened in 4-hour interval, though it's not that concrete, so it still has some resistance too. We're gonna be waiting. USD hasn't decided, probably will be, but if you look at 8-hour, it has crossed the down section. 12-hour, the net volumes are all crossing the down section, so probably in a couple of 2 hours, between 1 to 2 hours or even 2 to 4 hours, I will be witnessing a concrete downtrend. So until then, we shall be waiting for entry points, and I will be letting you know. But you can just go ahead and enter the trend at this moment. You'll be able to make a lot of profits. I can guarantee you that. So let's head over to Euro GBP. Euro GBP is actually heading into a downtrend, but you can see it's actually a lousy downtrend because it has some resistance in it. Let's look at the most biggest part, actually the bonus that I had told you. This one doesn't have the technical analysis, but later on I will be explaining that technical analysis. Ensure to start long. Let's now switch to the big chart where we're going to be explaining. At least we can see its movement. Can bring it down to probably 2 hours, or even have free tire chart where we have probably 10 minutes and 5 hours, and then lastly 2 minutes. Sorry about that sound. We're near the airport, so we have a lot of planes that are really moving past the roof, so that's not a problem. But anyways, if you look at the 2-minute interval, and also Okay, we can just decide on USD gap. Then later on we shall be continuing with more pairs, pairing, and also moving into downtrend. Okay, so we are back and we can continue with our Forex pair analysis. Okay, so let's do some quick analysis about Euro GBP. Let's talk about Euro GBP, Euro, where are you? Euro GBP. Okay, so looking at a very small perspective of about a 10-minute and below, Euro GBP is actually heading into a very small downtrend, but we can look at, of course, the big intervals of 12, 4, and finally also 2 hours. So probably in the next 2 hours we can determine where we are going to be heading in Euro GBP. Okay, so looking at 4 hours, but first 12 hours. Oh my god, 12 hours actually started a downtrend a long time ago. So it's actually started at this point, and these people made a lot of profit. It came back and also made another uptrend here on this candlestick, and right now it's actually exiting the downtrend. That's in 12 hours, and the exiting of downtrend, of course, in 12 hours gave rise to a very small uptrend in 4 hours, which actually started at this point. Could be perceived as a false trend, but it was enough to give you around between 10 to 20 pips. But the next we had the iron to grid line crossing the above section and finding the, of course, the green line, and the next volume crossing this the down section. Yes, it had a lot of effort, and if you entered this, probably made between 20 or even 30 to 50 pixels. But you can see the RSI, which actually acts as a filter for these two, it filtered it out as a false trend, heading back into the uptrend. So probably if you can see this guy crossing the above section, and also green line here taking over in the RM2, and then you have the RSI crossing back the above section. That will mean that we have now an uptrend that is actually taking place. So as per now, as we talk, whatever happens, it will be an uptrend in 4 hours. So let's look at 2 hours. Remember, we're discussing Euro GBP. For those who've just joined the live stream, remember we're doing GBP. But also subscribe to the channel such that next time you wouldn't miss any stream. Still the same thing. Oh, it had ended of course, a downtrend at this point, but now it's actually heading into an uptrend. So we're gonna have to wait and see what is going. So we shall be doing some more analysis, of course, about Euro GBP probably in the next couple of hours, 1-2 hours, such that we can see what it will be decided in 2 hours. We're continuing with an uptrend or downtrend. So I will tell you and give you a signal, of course, when to enter Euro GBP. So let's check on AUD card. Most people trade AUD card, the Canadian dollar. Anyways, AUD card had a very good uptrend in the past 12 hours, but right now it's kind of relaxing, and that relaxing in 12 hours would cause a very good downtrend in 4 hours. And that really happened. They made probably about 40 to 60 pips, and that was a good trend. But right now we're heading for an uptrend that was of course in 2 hours. So AUD card, if you enter right now, you would enter on an uptrend right now, as in right now. Heading over to AUD gap, looking at AUD gap. Yep, AUD gap in 12 hours is actually still in an uptrend, but it has some resistance. So let's look at its day perspective. AUD gap day perspective is actually in uptrend, so it might stay or even spend the whole of its day in uptrend. That's for AUD gap. The whole of the day is gonna be almost staying in uptrend, at least for now. Probably I'll be doing some more analysis to let you know if there are more changes in AUD gap. Let's look at GBP gap. What's happening in GBP gap? GBP gap in 1 day is a concrete uptrend. So this one is actually sealed. GBP gap here is going to be staying in an uptrend probably for the next 12 hours and probably for the next 24 hours, and that makes it a full day in uptrend. Okay, so let's look at so my advice to people who are actually trading GBP gap, do not enter any downtrend unless maybe if I give you a signal. But as per now, for the whole of today, the only thing we have is actually an uptrend. An uptrend is gonna be, stronger, and you cannot just resist at that force. Otherwise, it will be putting you in a lot of negatives that you wouldn't desire. So let's look at Euro card. Euro against the Canadian dollar. Okay, in one day, what do we have? Still has an uptrend in one day, but yes, still an uptrend also in 2 hours. So probably in the next 2 to 4 hours, we are still in an uptrend, but we gonna be experiencing some time probably in the next 24 hours. So as per now, just look for an entry point, of course, that goes into uptrend. That's for Euro cards. Looking at Euro Jap, Japanese yen. Euro Jap is also in an trend. That's for the full day, for the interval, and also for forwards, uptrend, uptrend, uptrend. So Eurojab, the big picture for Eurojab, daily picture is actually an uptrend. So that's it. That will be. I will be giving you more updates probably in the next coming hours. So goodbye for now. I'll see you in the next, of course, hours when we do our live stream to check on our updates, see whether they have given us entry points for the day. Thanks for watching for today.